everyone, today I'm going to talk about the other two types of personalities that we have in cluster A. A few weeks ago I talked about the cluster A that has three. One of them is paranoid, and today I'm going to talk about the other two. The other two starts with the word skids. The meaning of skids may scare people. Just to give you a little bit of background, skids comes from Greek. It's a Greek word meaning split or divide. From there are so many terms for skids. You may hear schizophrenia, schizoid, schizotypal, which I can never pronounce. So the other two that are part of type A personality are skids or schizotypal. These two are kind of like a split or a division, but it's not as severe. So think of it this way. We have skids, which is a different type of personality disorder, schizotypal, which is in the middle, and then schizophrenia, which is the last or the most extreme. It's like a line between these three. And the person may go between this or this, and it could change. So let's remove the schizophrenia. I'm going to focus on schizotypal and schizoid. When a person has any of these two, what do you notice? What are they going through? The schizotypal, number one, what makes them different is that, first of all, we are talking about someone who's living with these patterns all their life. I'm not talking about short term, I'm talking about a trait that they carry along with them all their life. And what affects any of the mental disorders, as we talked before, it could be biology, it could be the way of their thoughts, it's psychology, and it could also be social. So this theory is called biopsychosocial. It means any of these three: biology, genetics, or the way their distorted thinkings are, or the last one is society, whatever it's around them. So what happens to a person who has schizotypal personality? Number one, the main thing is that they have extreme social anxiety. They really don't like to be around people. They're very uncomfortable around people because, number two, they always have distorted thought that someone is judging them. They really don't like negative thoughts. They don't like anybody judging them. They're very cautious of what they look like, and they're afraid of people pointing at them or talking negatively at them. They're just extremely afraid. Schizoid, the other type, they don't care. They really don't care what people think. They have no care at all what people say about them, what people may think of them. They don't have any of these paranoias. Versus the schizotypal, they do. They really care. So they will always be very uncomfortable around strangers. They avoid being around people. Their best friends usually are their family members, and that's it. They completely isolated from society. They don't want to be around them because they're afraid. Number two, they may have some type of psychosis. Not always. So it comes and goes. It could go all the way up to be schizophrenia, but schizophrenia, they always have it. Schizotypal comes and goes. So that's another two difference between these two. They have very, very bizarre beliefs. They really believe things that are not normal to us, such as they believe that they can manipulate nature, that they have superpowers, and that they are able to communicate with the dead, they are able to communicate with spirits, and they have ability to talk to gods. They really believe that they are chosen and they are connected, and they have ability to bring in messages from the dead. They believe that. It's the difference between these magicians who come to you and say, give me money because I'm gonna connect with someone who's dead. That's different. These guys really think they are able to communicate with the dead. They really believe they have ability to manipulate nature, and they have superpowers. They believe that. And number four, I think, they have extreme fear of the unknown, meaning superstition, extremely superstitious. They walk around wearing a lot of pendants, a lot of different things. They're extremely superstitious from any kind of religions. They believe in spirits and ghosts and bad luck and bad spells and black magic. They're extremely superstitious to a degree that they walk around like wearing all these amulets and all these protection. They really don't have any friends outside the family. And social anxiety is the number one for them. And the transit psychosis may come and go. That's the main difference. Now, never tell someone that they have schizoaffective because you're not a professional. They have to be diagnosed by a professional. Sometimes they're out of the radar. Sometimes they may be diagnosed with autism. Sometimes they're diagnosed with something else, because this type of personality disorder only happens to 1 to 3% of population, and mostly males. Number two, there is hope. Don't ever judge people, because remember, it could be trauma that they've had or something that happened to them in their childhood that they've been carrying along. There is always hope for these people. The best type of treatment for them is group therapy. Not CBT, not DBT, not hypnosis that I do. Group therapy is the best type of treatment. Sometimes they're given drugs, sometimes they're given antidepressant, depends on the severity of the spectrum. Group therapy is amazing. They have an amazing life. They end up changing their thoughts. They end up changing their distorted ways of thinking, because group therapy puts them in a place that they are safe, where they can talk about their issues, and they start to build trust. They start to see the difference between what they think and what the reality is, because in reality, if we leave them alone, that's going to get worse. It does get worse with time. So they're not bad people. They're not hurting people. They're just hurting themselves by being isolated from society. So if you ever suspect that you have a loved one who may be schizoaffective, or you may be suffering with schizoaffective, remember, there's nothing wrong with it. It's normal. We all have magical thinking. We all believe in certain things. But if it's getting to a point that it's causing you social anxiety and you're not able to function in daily life, go talk to a professional, a psychologist or psychiatrist. They go through the questionnaires. You don't need to sometimes go on pills. You may be okay with some group therapy. In 1 year, you'll be out of it and you will have a completely normal life and you're going to be okay. So no judgments, nothing to be afraid of. It's a normal thing. We all have certain mood disorders. Remember that. And it comes and goes with everybody. So best of luck.